Hi, this is Kate from Kate Price Photography. Today we are doing a tutorial on how to create a still magazine layout in Photoshop CS5. This is what the end image will look like on a dark background. You have the center line, you have two shadows and two highlights. Okay, now before you start, let's make sure we open all the images that we want to use as a part of this. All portrait photographs that I've used are 7 inches wide by 10 inches high, and any landscape images I've cropped to 10 inches high by 14 inches wide. Okay, now let's create a new document. Let's call it magazine layout. Now we want our width to be in inches, and we want the width to be 14 inches, the height to be 10 inches, resolution at 300, RGB color 8-bit, and we want the background to be transparent. And let's work in Adobe in case we are looking to print this. Okay, now what we want to do first up is we want to use the line tool here, and we want to create the center line. Okay, now we want the weight of this to be 10 pixels, and we would like the color, if you want to come down to here and change the color, to 2F2F2F and click OK. Now we want the line to be right down the center of the page, so bring your cursor up to the 7-inch mark, hold down the left mouse button and the shift button on the keyboard at the same time, and drag down to the bottom of the document. This will create a straight line. Okay, now let's rename that layer to line, so that we know once the images start stacking up, it's easy for us to go and edit a particular layer. Okay, so let's start now with the shadow highlight here. So we want to go to the brush tool. Now we want to select the pixel size to be 550 pixels with a hardness of 0. We want the opacity to be at 75%, flow at 100, and the color we want to use, come down to our color picker down here, and we're going to change the color to 5E, 5D, 5D. Okay, now let's create a new layer, and we're going to name that layer Shadow 1. Okay, now let's come over to our page here. We want the brush tool to be overlapping slightly over to the other side of the page, and then what we want to do is hold down our left mouse button and the shift button at the same time, and this will draw a straight line of the fill right down the middle, go down once and then come back up again, and that's our shadow. Now what I like to do on this is just to cut it cleanly off at the line, so I'm going to choose the eraser tool, brush mode, opacity 100, flow 100, go right near to where the center line is here, select that, click on that, and then hold down the shift key before you move it, and then move it up and down the document a few times, and that will give a straight line cut off there. Okay, so that's part 1 of the shadow. Part 2 of the shadow we'll leave till the end, and we're going to move on to the highlights. I want you to create a new layer and name it left highlight. Okay, now we want to go back to the brush tool, and we want to change the color to white, which is FE, FE, FE. So if you wanted to change it without having to click, you just FE, 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 and that gives you white. Okay, now we want to drop the brush size down to probably about 300, I would say, hardness of 0, opacity 75, flow of 100, and we want to move probably about this far out from the center line. Hold down your left mouse button and then click shift, and then draw your straight line down the middle of the page. Okay, so that's for your left highlight, and we want to change the blend mode on that one to soft light. Okay, now I'd like you to create a new layer, and this is for the right highlight. So if we can rename the layer for that one. Okay, now back to the brush tool. We want the same color, same opacity, same brush size, same hardness. what we want to do is we want to click just on outside, where just to the edge where the shadow started on this one. Click your left mouse button, hold down shift and draw your line all the way down the page. Okay, so then we also want to change our blend mode to soft light. Okay, now one more highlight, and this is the bit darker shadow on the inside of the previous shadow. So we're going to rename this shadow 2. Okay, we want to go over to our brush tool again. We still want the same settings, 75, flow 100. We want to change this back to 5E, 5D, 5D color. Okay, and this time we want to come just in here a little bit further, and we want to just drop that, hold down the left key, hold down the shift key and drop that down there. Okay, so once we've done that, again, I would like you to grab the eraser tool and go back to the center line, hold down your shift key, and then that will remove that part of the shadow from there. Okay, so now that we've done that, what we will do is start thinking about adding our images into the document. So I'm going to start off with this one here. Okay, so I want this one to go into the magazine layout document. So I'm going to right click on this layer, duplicate layer, and then I'm going to select magazine layout. And yes, I want to convert. Okay. Those warnings may not come up into your document. It just depends on what color mode you're working in. Okay, now what we'll do is we want to transform this photograph so it fits in. So hold down the Alt key when you're on the selection tool there, and just scroll your mouse button out, or you can use your magnifying glass, and you can hold down, you can click zoom in or out. Okay, I'll grab the selection tool, and I want to, oops, just need to go out a little bit more. It's not wanting to play ball with me at the moment. Okay, there we go. So now I want to drag it into, I want it to be on the right hand side of the page, this one. So I am going to transform it to go into there by grabbing the tools. Hold down your shift key to keep it at the same proportions. Okay, and if we scroll in, there we go, the image. Now I like to drop these right to the back because we want the shadows and the highlights to go over the image. Sorry, we'll click that up there to confirm the transformation. Okay, now I like to move that to the bottom of the stack, that way we can see it all. I know it looks a bit funny at the moment, but we'll change the opacity of all the layers very shortly. Okay, now the other image I want to go in here is this one, so I'm going to do the same, right click, duplicate layer, and we're going to go to magazine layout. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, now again we need to transform this photograph to fit in with our requirements. So hold down the shift key and drag in your image. Okay, let me go zoom in a bit. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. Now what I'm going to show you is how to change the opacity of, oops, sorry, just click that off. Change the opacity of the shadows and the highlights, just to make it look a little bit more realistic and it's not dominating the photograph so much. Okay, first off I'm going to drop the shadow 2 down to about 50%, and the same with the shadow 1 down to about 50%. Okay, the left highlight is probably a bit too light, so I'm just going to drop that back to something that might look a bit nicer and a bit more realistic. So that's down to about 43%, and then I'm going to drop the opacity on the right probably to about the 45% mark. Okay, and there we have it. There's the image there. And then all you do for the, for the same ones there, you get to see these ones here. That's exactly the same document. It's exactly the same layout, just with different photographs arranged within that. I'll show you the next one. Whoops. There we go. There's the next one. That one. Oops. Keep doing that. There we go, and then there's the last one there. Okay, well I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial today. Please head to my website if you'd like some more information, or just leave me a comment, and I look forward to sharing some more information with you soon. Bye.